Yo, hi Ronnie.
Hey, Rissa Faye, what's going on, Mama?
Not much. I've been waiting to have this conversation with you. I think it's going to be fun. There's no script. We're going to talk about good music. We're going to talk about how powerful your story is because it is powerful. I am your young, big little sister. I say young, big because, you always be talking about wisdom and all this kind of stuff I be having, which don't always be all that, but, we going to roll with it.
You are.
But just real talk, real conversation. I guess let's go ahead and break the ice with you. And what I'll break it with, what is the first song that ever made you fall in love with music?
What is the first song that ever made me fall in love with music?
Yay.
That's a unique question, and I honestly can't say because I literally grew up around music. You name it, gospel, jazz, pop, rock,
What's a song
R
that
and
speaks to
B.
your heart? And
What song?
like if a song like from growing up or just when you knew that you were like this song got me. I am addicted to music. Do you have one particular or any
There's
genre?
so many. There really are.
Or is
Just
there a go-to song? Do you have a go-to song?
Well, I will say this. I will say this. And this is in my grown up days. My grown up days. One of the things that even got me where I am now musically is Square Biz by Tina Marie. Square
We're
Biz
talking
is one of the that ma'am is the one that kind of helped put me on the map. So, and when I say map, it's just one of those songs that when people see me coming, are you doing Square Biz tonight? You singing Square Biz tonight? I know you doing square biz. The first time I saw you, you hit that square biz. So it's Square Biz by Tina Marie.
I like Tina Marie.
Yep.
I like
She
Tina
goes
Marie.
back to, I want to say that song probably came out in 1985. So I guess that's a good answer to your question, Recife,
No answer
because,
is a bad answer over here. No answer is a bad
okay.
answer,
Well,
okay?
like I said, we grew up on music, so it goes back to 1980. I want to say it around 1985. I was like in the fifth grade when that song came out. So it's probably before
So
that.
you were in a never mind, never mind. I was trying to count to see where never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind.
Yeah, I'm telling my age. So yeah, I was in the reason why I can remember I was in the fifth grade is because that was the first time that we went to Michigan and we took a road trip to Michigan. Me and my family to go visit my grandmother who happened to live in Michigan that time. And we drove the car, which was the longest ride ever. And that's when Square Biz was just like
Mm.
blazing. So it just reminds me of being in Michigan, being in the car,
So you
being
kind
in
of remember the moment.
yeah. It's that time and place. And, it's still relevant to this day.
When did you realize that your voice was a gift?
I have been singing that I can remember since the third grade. So the elementary school that I went to had like a mixed choir for third, fourth, and fifth graders. And I just auditioned, that was like the thing to do, because when you're in third, fourth, and fifth grade, you really ain't got football at school. You ain't got cheerleading at school. That was, the Saturday thing that your parents took you to. So that was the one activity that I wanted to do in school, and I auditioned in the third grade and I made the choir. Then I auditioned again in the fourth grade and I made the choir. I auditioned again and I made the fifth grade choir. So
Hmm.
from
So
the
you just was in the choir, just getting it in.
I'm a choir girl.
Okay, choir girl. All right. That's why they call you the vocalist. That's where it comes
Yep,
from, huh?
I'm a choir
Being in the
girl.
choir.
Yep.
That's good. That's good. That's good. How did music like help you through your difficult seasons in life?
If you're sad, you could put on some music and
Mm.
it'll make you sadder. If you're sad, you could put on some music that'll make you feel better. If you're sad, you could put on some music and it's going to hype you right on up.
Mm.
Music definitely can take you back to a time and a place. Music
Mm.
is it's a universal language. That's one of the things that I can remember my dad always saying. It's something that everybody can relate to is some music. And it doesn't matter what you put on. You could put on some classical, you could put on some country, you could put on some jazz, but it can definitely set a mood. You put you on some praise and worship, it'll get you ready for a good word. You can put you on some hip hop. get you ready to go to the club or, go hang out with your friends, put you on some R. Kelly or something, get you in the mood,
Get you in the mood.
get you in the mood. Just music. Yeah, that's some good stuff, man. It's some
What it
great.
is, music is very therapeutic. I think even with me growing up, music was always in our household, so I completely get it. Music was a thing. Music is a language for me.
Yep.
Like you could send me a song and tell me how you feel, and I'd be like, or I'll send somebody a song and be like, "Girl, you listen to this. You hear what it's saying?" Because I'm a word person, but I also like a beat. But I'm a word person. Like I listen to the words and I be like, "Did you just say what?" And they be
Yep.
like, I'm good for stuff like that. Well, that yeah,
Yeah, you done
because
sent me a few.
I
You done sent me a few, and I'm just like, okay, all right.
because
So
it be
yeah.
the moments we be, and I be like, we just talked about this, and then this song pop up, and so it'd be like, yeah. So song music is very therapeutic. I love it. I love the fact that I got somebody who sing the way that you sing, because you sing all genres. So I'll be like, oh okay. I'll be like, I didn't even know she knew that. I'll be like, dang, oh okay. We ain't gonna tell them, that you be, out here singing glow and stuff and sexy red.
Everything.
Everything. Balancing faith and music. How does that work for you?
Balancing faith and music, right? I have my faith in Jesus. That's who I trust in. And I tell people all the time that what I have is a gift. It is a gift from God, and it's His first. Most definitely His first. So I give it to Him first. I'm a praise leader. I sing every Sunday. I do all services. I don't do Sunday morning brunches. I don't do New Year's Eve because hey, only what you do for the Lord is what's gonna last, right? So, and that's my commitment. It's His first. So I give it to Him. And to me, when you say balancing faith and music, it's no different than work-life balance, right? When you're at
Mm,
work, it's all about work, right? I got a job to do, but when I get off work, it's all about life, right? And it's kind of the same thing, balancing music and faith, you know. You
yeah.
got to be able to do both, right?
Yeah.
And
Being
prioritize.
secure in yourself too when you're doing it.
Exactly.
I think that's what I love about you and getting to know you, that I knew that you were a praise leader and I also know your job. But I love the fact that you always put God first no matter what. It was no, I'm not doing that because I have to go, church is this, or I have to, worship in the morning, or I'm the leader for this. So I appreciate that about you. It just lets me know where your boundaries lies when it comes to your faith, when it comes to your love for God. So that's awesome. And to put it in that perspective of, it's almost like work life balance. You know how to balance the two. And it's really not a balance, because if you didn't have faith, would you be able to work?
Nope.
I mean, that's just, it's true. Uh
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Your faith is everything. Your faith is everything. So, like you said, I wouldn't be able to do half the things that I do without putting my faith in God first. And doggone it, He gonna come first.
Amen. I'm with you when you're right. Do you have any, like, one performance or one song that you perform all the time that is just your thing? Like it's a song that like gets you. It gets you like going. Is there one particular song that you sing that like does something to yourself?
Well, Square Biz is one.
Hmm.
Square Biz is one, but I did Square Biz so much that it's just like, oh God, we about to do Square Biz again. But no, one of my favorite songs that I do like to do when I'm performing with my band is Keisha Cole, Let It Go. Keisha Cole, Let It Go. And the reason why I like doing that one so much is because it's one of those songs that the crowd is going to join you in. So it's just like, and when this song comes on in the club, they're going to be like,
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
and when they play it in their cars, they gonna drop their tops light.
Okay.
And it's just everybody's gonna come with that energy. So
Is
if
that the
I
song you did the remix on?
yeah,
Okay, Ronnie has her own little remix, y'all. It is super cool. One day y'all gotta check her out. When she sing it, y'all gotta check her out. Cause when I realized that she was mixing it, I said, "What the?" Okay, yeah, she got a little. I like it.
remixing a lot of songs, we can always do that. You have one background going for one song, and then throw in another verse for another song. It's just, to me, that's just how you prolong the music, especially when you're doing something live. Throw in a little surprise, throw in a little mix. Keep the people intrigued. Like, wait a minute, they do just like what you did. Did you just? Ah.
I was wanting to hear some more. I was like, where is that? When being in the music industry, by you being a vocalist, what is something that you can like give the people a nice nugget for them to know what going inside this world looks like? Something that you wish somebody would have told you.
It's not easy. One of the things that I would say that I wish somebody would have told me, that's a good question, Rissa Faye, because it's so much to know, so much to learn. There are people out here who have been doing this thing way longer than I have, and I consider myself a late bloomer. I really didn't start doing this until I got into like my mid-50s, or I take that back, early fees. I didn't get really serious about it until my late 50s. So, here I am in my piece, and I'm doing something that I truly love. And it really is all about networking. A lot of things that you get from who you know, not necessarily what you know. A lot of things you get because, I consider myself a great talent. I think I have an amazing voice, but, your voice alone ain't going to get you where you want to be.
Right.
So, just networking, getting to know people, educate yourself on your talent, educate yourself on your business, definitely networking because, um, you really not going to get anywhere if you ain't being seen.
Now that's facts. That's true. Have you ever like struggled with confidence in your gift?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's another thing too, that in my personal opinion, it was one of the things that I felt like I wouldn't say lacking confidence in my talent, but lacking confidence in myself, so per se. And I guess that's one of the things that we can go into detail about as we get further into our conversation. But just having confidence in yourself, having the right self-esteem, having, feeling like you have what it actually takes to get out here and do, something like what I do. It's
Yeah.
Some people don't struggle with that. Some people do. I was one of them.
Before we get into your faith life and finding self and all of those wonderful things, I guess my last good old music question for you would be, what is your dream performance or moment or
I would love
duet?
to be, I'm sorry.
Or do
Or duet. I would actually love to be on a big stage. I would love possibly be a Mary J. Blige status, an Anita Baker status. I love what I do, but to be able to perform at a venue and fill that room up with people who really, 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 really wanted to come and see me.
Mhm.
That would be the dream. Or to travel somewhere and somebody purchases tickets to come and see me,
Mhm.
so to speak, just to be on that type of status. That would be the dream for me.
That's real. That's
It
real.
is
That's a
real.
wonderful dream.
Or
It can
to have
happen.
my music played on the radio, something that I wrote or something that I performed, and hey, go on tour. That would be the dream.
To go on tour. Your dream is to go on tour, you said? Put that in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
atmosphere.
You
It,
put it in the
with
atmosphere,
it shall be done.
and it
In
shall.
Jesus' name. Amen.
I gotta start somewhere. Yes, ma'am.
You gotta start somewhere. Has there ever been a moment where you felt like, I don't know if I want to do this music thing? And if you did feel like that, what pulled you back to say, I gotta do this music thing?
Girl. So
Oh yeah,
having my own
we finna get to the good. We gotta get to the understanding.
having my own band, having my own band. So I always had a safety net. People that I've always trusted, people that have always been there for me in the long haul. So starting with this band on my second go round, I call up my day one and I'm like, hey, I've got an opportunity here. I want you to be a part of it. My bass player, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm in with both feet. He's been experienced in it. He was pretty much the legwork, the whole legwork. It's just like, okay, well, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, and I let him know what I have, and he put it all together. and it was successful.
Mm.
It was successful. And we had a heck of a ride. When I say we had a heck of a ride, it took off like overnight. Then he comes to me and he says, "Hey, Ronnie, everything has been great. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you've accomplished. I'm proud of what you've done. But hey, it's time for me to step away." I'm like, "What the hell you mean? The hell you mean it's time for
This
you to step
work with
away?
you.
What do you mean it's time for you to step away?" He was just like, "Well, hey, this is going to give you an opportunity to grow. This is an opportunity for you to spread your wings and fly away." And I'm like, "No, I can't do it without you.
Mm.
No, no." And he was just like, "Ronnie," he was just like, "Man, you out there, you killing the game. Your name is a household name. Anytime you talking to somebody else you've never met in person and they're talking about you." And I'm just like, "What?" He was just like, "You doing a doggone thing. You got it. You got it. Go on out there and do it. You don't need me." And I'm not gonna lie, it shattered my heart. It definitely shattered my heart. And I didn't think I had the confidence to do it, because it did seem like once Chris handed me the reins, that's when all hell broke loose. And I'm just like, I didn't think I was strong enough to hold it down. I had some other fellas in the band. And you feel like you've built a bond with people, think you got people on your team you can trust. So when Chris left, I attempted to pass the torch to somebody else.
Mm.
Um, and when I attempted to pass the torch to somebody else, that did not work out. And we ended up having to part ways. And a lot of the things that Chris did, I was comfortable with it. I was confident in it. I pretty much had a Cadillac job. The sound wasn't right, which was one of the things that he took care of, and ended up having to let another one of my band members go. It's just a
Being the
terrible
boss
experience.
ain't easy.
No, it's not. It's really not. And it was one of those things that I just was not ready for. Was not ready for. And it's one of those things that had to make me step back and look at myself and this business as a whole. Because we dealing with people. It's one thing when you have a 9 to 5 and you're dealing with people, and you answering to somebody else. But when you got other people answering to you and looking for answers, and trying to step over your head, and you dealing with different personalities, it's a whole different ball game that
Mm.
I was not ready for. And especially being the only female in my crew.
Ooh. It's a lot of masculinity.
A lot of testosterone.
Yeah.
A lot of testosterone, which, I don't have a lot of testosterone. I'm a feminine, but when you have to slang some around,
What'd you say? I can.
when you gotta slang some around,
What'd you say? I raised 3 boys. What's up?
I did. And, that's one of the things that I had to explain, because, you don't want people taking advantage of you, for one, because you're a female. And then two, at the end of the day, this is a business. We still have to do things in fashion and in order. And then again, too, you have some men that are sensitive,
Mm.
which is one of those things that I had to deal with. I was
Which
not ready.
I want to double back to something that you said. You said when you said Chris said he'll talk to people and they will talk about you. And you never even knew these people. These people, you don't know them, but they knew you. That is a true fact, because I have been places, or I've go somewhere and I have a friend who has a cousin who's plays a, I don't want to mess it up. I don't know if he's a trumpet or he plays something. But I happened to be in their presence and I mentioned, and I said, "Oh, my friend, she sings, she's in the band." And as soon as I said your name, he's like, "I love her." So I was just like, "What?" So it was
You
amazing
never
to
told me
know.
that. Who was
It's
it?
amazing to know, even when I go to like little spots and I know that you've sung there before, but somebody is say that wrong. I'd be like, I'd be, stroking my ego, because I'd be like, "That's my friend." I know she's singing here. They'd be like, "Yeah, sometimes we have a band here and her name, Ronnie." And I'm like, "That's my friend." Like, I get excited. I'm like, "Yeah, like I know her. I know her." So when people talk about you around the DFW Metroplex, your name circulates around here so big that you can, I mean, the fact that you would even think about stopping, some people will probably be upset if they don't get to see you sing. I think so, you protecting, your jewel is a wonderful thing. No, you can't let the men get to you. But that's real. I wanted to double back on that because I was like, that is so true. Cause I be hearing it, I be knowing. And even when I went, I met some guy one time, and he likes to go to one of the places you sing in Louisville. And I was just like, oh, my friend sings there. Like my friend, her band, they go there, whatever. He was like, you talking about Ronnie? He be like, yeah, I be, I hear like she good, she good, the band good, they good. I was like, yeah, they are, but we don't know the talk. He's garbage.
Well, it is. It's definitely a tough job. That's one thing I will say. Um, when you're posted on Facebook and you're showing clips and they don't see the blood, sweat and tears that's actually behind it all. They don't see that you spending money on rehearsal hall or you're spending money on equipment. And I mean, you're investing in your business, which is what you should do. But it's a lot that goes behind it, learning new music, trying to get everybody together when everybody has time for rehearsal, when the sound ain't right, when it seems like it's all pretty, or you get to go on an airplane and go do a show somewhere else. It looks all pretty, but I still wouldn't give it up. I definitely
Hey,
would still would not give it up. But I ain't gonna lie, I done thought about it.
was it with doing music with raising your children? Like, was that something that you sing to them all the time? Like, was music a thing for you with you and your boys?
Well, I used to sing to my babies. I did when they, coming out the womb. I sang to my babies, bouncing them up on my knees, singing to the babies, but I was a married woman at the time. There was no going to the clubs. There was no hanging out. There was no, and I tell people this all the time. It wasn't until me and my husband parted ways that I even knew that people went out to clubs and listened to music. I guess I lived a sheltered life as a wife. But yeah, I didn't know people go out during the middle of the week. People are out listening to music Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a 24-hour thing is what it seems like to me. People are just constantly wanting to be entertained. I would say that doing what I do now was not a thing until my children were older.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Do you have anybody that's distracting you from music right now? Anybody, a person?
No,
Do you have anybody that's like distracting your life or that you want
no.
to distract your life?
I wish I had somebody distracting my life, but no, I
I put
am
it in
single.
such a way because basically that be what it is sometimes.
It would
Sometimes
be
we just need
definitely.
the distraction to come around. Just
I,
come around just for a minute or come around for a lifetime, whichever one you choose.
I
But
prefer a
where's
lifetime. I do prefer a lifetime, but the right distraction, hey, I would welcome that. But as for now, no. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I am a vocalist. I do spend a lot of time in venues where you can encounter people that are living single like me. But the thing about that is, every time I'm in the club, you in the club. And it's kind of like what Cardi B said that back in the day, you there to party. When I'm there, I get a fee.
you
I
hear
do
me?
get paid for being there. Not to say that, there aren't times where I will go and, hang out with some friends from time to time. But no, there's not. And I spend a lot, I have a 9 to 5. And then, I have my, what do you call it? My night job, I guess. And there's just really not a lot of time for it.
But you are open to it.
If the right person comes along, now I'm not just trying to entertain anybody for the sake of entertaining anybody. We've lived our lives. Like I said, I'm in my 50s. I've done the married thing. I've done the single thing. I've done the dating thing. I've done the boyfriend girlfriend thing. I've learned a lot. And it's kind of like, I can sit back, chill, and wait for the next best thing. I'm not in no hurry.
I'm in your business. So when I say if a person comes, okay, we didn't got on a whole nother tip. Okay, we done talked about life, family. It's time to talk some good stuff. Okay. So when the time comes and your schedule is what your schedule is, are you willing to sacrifice any of that time?
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not getting any younger, for one. And I honestly do not want to ride off into the sunset by myself. It's just like when you get at a particular age, like where I'm at. Eventually retirement gets to come along. Hey, retirement. My kids are adults. I have one that just got married in October. So eventually grandkids are gonna come along. Which I hope to see that soon. That's one of the things that I value is family, and being a
And do.
granny. Spending that time with someone special when the holidays come around. Like I said, the kids are getting at that age now where they're getting married and they're gonna start having their own families.
True. 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 True.
Mama
I
want a
mean,
family
I
too.
met before. What I think your son didn't your I think when we met, your oldest son had just graduated college, if I'm not mistaken.
He graduated in, oh my goodness, 2017.
Yeah, I think he had just graduated college when you and I had. Yeah, it was about there.
Yep, he
I've known this
graduated
woman
in
for a little while,
September.
but it feels like a lifetime of friendship and sisterhood. Um, Even you always know a true person. You know a true person because we work together. But when I left, it's like she still didn't let me go nowhere. And so, it was like, hey, where you going? How you doing? I ain't seen you. Where you at? Kind of thing. So that was an amazing thing to always know that it was somebody that was, still cheering for me even when I wasn't in their presence. We had multiple conversations. I think this is why this particular moment and you being on No Strings Attached means a lot because you and I both have been through things and within our relationship, of things that we've suffered or gone through. And when Key passed away, you were one of my anchors. And at the same time, I had to turn around and be your anchor. And so we just were anchors for each other and in tough times. And we didn't even know that we were going to need each other in that moment.
The way
And
that we
so,
did,
yeah.
2020 was a beast.
2020 was a what? Because
2020.
I lost my best friend, you lost your best friend. It was a really ionic, chaotic moment and
Yep.
just learning. But what I love about our relationship and the friends that I have is who we put first. And I believe when you put God first, our relationship lasts. And that's because we know who to go to first. Even when you say, friend, now why you do that? Now that don't even make sense. I was like, well, and then me, I'm hard headed. So one thing you always say to me is, you're gonna do what you want to do anyway. So you might
Well, I think that's both of us. I
we
think
do.
that's both of us. We both have that tendency to just want to do what we want to do,
Yeah.
and then go running back to God.
Babe. And then be like, and then we be like, then you be like, you'll call like we'll say something. I'll be like, friend, I did it. I know I said I wasn't. I know we talked about it, but I did. But it's the confidence that we have in one another to be able to come back and be like, hey girl, I messed up. And even our
Yeah.
deep conversations when things are tight or things are not right. I think we are able to be vulnerable with one another. And I think that's why I was like, you know what? Roni the vocalist got to come on No Strings Attached because one, she's wise. She, I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you as a woman. I've seen you as a mother. I've seen you. I didn't get to see you as the wife, but I got to know what that was for you. I got to see it through your lens. I got to understand. Even when I would do, we ain't gonna get in my business, but even when I had did a little situation or whatever, you had gave me your view about it from a wife perspective. And I think that right there was something for me to be like, okay, it wasn't you talking just from what people say, is what you're talking with what you know. And that
Oh,
right there, I have all kind of friends and I like it. And people always wonder, why do I have older friends? I have older friends because there's wisdom there, there's knowledge there, um, there's transition. People have been through transitions already. They have been through things. And it just makes you want to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to do that because you said that's what happened to you. So it just make you think better, make you think with a little more logic than think with emotion because you already went through the emotional part of what I'm asking you about. So now I could think about it from a logical standpoint. And that is what I love about who you are because one, you don't sugarcoat nothing. Two, you don't really let me get away with much. You'll say what's right and what's wrong, but I'm quick to already take accountability. When I know what's wrong, I say, friend, I know I was wrong, but, and then I give you what my reasoning behind my stupidity or whatever it is I got going on. But the fact is that you love me anyway.
of course, because we all do stupid stuff. We done all made stupid mistakes. We done all been there, done that at some point in time. And, if you can learn from somebody else, please be a sponge and
Mhm.
soak up as much as you can. If I can save anybody from anything, that's the goal. That's the goal. Look, don't experience this dumb stuff that I experienced, or from these stupid mistakes that I've made. Please, if I can help somebody,
And
Lord
that
help
which is
somebody.
true. Which is so true because I feel like, what I've learned from 2020, not even 2020, learned the friends that I have now, like Akila was one person who taught me about friendship. And a lot of it was behind closed doors because I struggled with people pleasing. And so not really knowing who's the right one and giving more than, because sometimes people be like, oh, it's a give and take, it's a give and take, and a take and a give. I think for me, sometimes my gift that I have is what I abuse because I didn't know how to use it. Sometimes, and that's something that you had taught me too. It's like Carissa, you pour, 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 pour. When are you gonna allow somebody to pour into you? And that's when I had to open up my ears and open up my mind and really allow people like you, people like Keita, people like Monica, people like Akila in. But that's what she had told me one day. She said, "You have a problem." She was so vocal. You have a
Well,
problem.
and I think that's just a feminine trait also, Carissa, because we all want to be able to be that person, that
Mm-hmm.
person. And sometimes we don't know when to pull away. I have done it myself. I
Because
truly
we be in
have.
that thing.
hmm
We be in it.
And a lot of times when we're so eager to give, that's when people start taking advantage of us. And people don't know, they're gonna always take.
Mm.
People are gonna always take. And so we have to learn how to discipline ourselves
So,
and pull back and realize, hey, you still have to leave room for yourself. Because if you don't, people will run you right doggone in the ground.
it has just been a wonder. I'm so glad that you came on. I think for me, talking to you and just hearing about your journey from a different perspective, put a different perspective for me on your life. I want to be able to make sure that God continues to bless you in the way that He's been blessing you. So I'm
Amen.
going to continue to pray for you and all of those good things. So let them know what you have going for the future because I'm pretty sure you got some stuff.
I got a few picks in the fire.
Tell the people about you. Tell the people about where they can locate you, find you, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever social media site you may have, all of those wonderful things.
Absolutely. I want y'all to please follow me on Facebook at Ronnie. That's on Facebook. And you'll see where I'm at this weekend, next weekend, and the weekend after that. I also sing with a 17-piece band and we travel the country. This has been an amazing experience. I love what I do. And I would love for you to come out and check us out and be thoroughly entertained. You can also catch me on Instagram at Ronnie underscore the vocalist, as well as TikTok. And I believe that's Ronnie Storm. So best believe if you come out, you're gonna get a whole storm because these vocals is gonna making it rain around here. I make it rain. But yes, I also do private parties. You got a wedding, you decide to retire, you got a birthday party, whatever. I do private shows.
Tune on all of your social
Please
media
stay
sites.
tuned. Please stay tuned. It's been amazing. It's been definitely been an amazing ride, and I appreciate everybody that has supported me throughout this. My family, my friends, and people who just happen to come out and see me perform and become followers. It's definitely amazing and worth continuing to do what I do, despite
Well,
some
you
of
do a
those
wonderful
traumas that
job,
we have to
though.
deal with.
I just appreciate you coming on to No Strings Attached. I appreciate you coming to have a real conversation. Yeah, I know that we are ending, but one question that I do have for you is because I know that I'm doing something late in life, what they would consider late in life. How does it make you feel to start your journey on what you love so late in life?
It ain't over until you're 6 feet under, baby. So, as long as you got breath, you can do what it is that you love to do. And I have zero regrets. Zero regrets. The only regret that I have is that I didn't start sooner. But better late than never. And like I said, this has been an amazing journey. I'm just grateful and thankful that God blessed me to be able to do something that it is that I love to do and other people enjoy it. It's just like the one thing Erica Badu said that always sticks with me is keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Hey,
If people didn't love it, where would I be? So it's just, yeah, it's definitely a journey and I'm enjoying every moment of it.
if there was one thing you could say to the people to encourage them in continuing to push forward, let those be the last words of No Strings Attached tonight, what would you say?
Hey, adversity is going to come, and those are the things that only make you stronger. And you will be surprised what it is that you can accomplish once you see what you're really made of. So just never, ever give up. Don't ever give up. Keep pushing forward. And there's always going to be people in your corner, but you're going to always be your biggest fan. Hey, God got you.
Amen. Amen. Again, thank you so much for coming on to No Strings Attached. This is your girl, Rissa. I love you with No Strings Attached. Y'all be blessed and y'all be easy. Have a good one.